rugby jersey, but by all accounts, from what I do know, our team should be the favourites, and they should go into that game. And hopefully, fingers crossed, come away with another win. I think we've had the edge on our wobbly, our Australian neighbours for quite a few seasons. So I think this year's going to be no different. But good to hear that there's the odd former local girl playing for the Australian team, and Whānau from up this way here. Yep. So always a good thing. It's amazing that you always wonder why they don't come back and play for their country of origin, their country of birth. But not good on them. I mean, you wish them the best anyway. It sort of puts a feather in their cap, and hopefully it'll be a great spectacle, because it's a curtain raiser to the AB's game, eh?
Yes, it is. Mm-hmm. Now, talking about, because Evelyn Horomia is who you're talking about, and she's spent a lot of time, and I think now JT, because you're pretty close to her parents in particular, I think that she'd still be very, and her whānau will also be very, very proud of her achievement by making the national team, and I think she should be very, very proud of it. What do you reckon there, JT?
Oh, 100%. I've spoken to Alf and Doris about this several times, and they're very, very proud of their daughter, and rightly so. I guess they prefer to be in a black jumper.
Yeah, true.
To wear the colours of Australia in an international sport is a big thing. So,
yes.
Get their phone over there. We had a quick chat to Alf yesterday because we worked together, and he's looking forward to it, going over there and watching his girl. In his heart, he'd be cheering for his daughter, hoping she's yes. the game, but once the women run off and the boys get it on, he'll be putting the black jumper back on.
Absolutely. Let's talk about the All Blacks and, of course, the like Ra likes to call them, the Wallabies. What do you reckon of that game there, Reno?
Yeah, it'll be a big game. Look, obviously both teams want to win. They're hungry to win. More so the Wallabies. Big game over in Perth. Interesting. Still experimenting with Steve Hansen and the boys. They've stayed with a pretty well-stayed true backline from the previous game. Only changed there. You'll see Anton Leonard-Brown at 12. You pretty well know that Ryan Crotty's going to secure their spot when he gets back from injury with Jack Goodhue. But good to see things are going. Bodie back at 15. Richie Morgan starting at 10. Obviously, Dane Coles gets the start run-up at number 2 there. And good to see Scotty Barrett back. So, yeah, we've got a good team. You're going to be seeing kind of what the team will look like at the World Cup as well. So this is just one of those stepping stones, I would guess, for Michael Checker. He's got old James, is it James Conner, I think his name is?
Yes, James Conner.
James O'Connor back there at centre. Yeah, yes. He's back. He's had his ups and downs in his career.
Yep.
We had most of things very similar to Zach Gilford, who we spoke about a few minutes ago. But a brilliant player, and they've got a lot to play for, and they haven't touched that Bledisloe Cup for I can't remember how long. Yeah. So it's been a long, long, long time. So yeah, very interesting. People are talking about during midweek, the All Blacks we'll lose our number 1 ranking. But right. The big focus, and I know Ra wants to talk about it, is only next month. Look, it's only 5-6 weeks away. The World Cup gets underway, and we've got the mighty South Africans first up. But get through this game tonight. I think a lot will be watching, especially with their backline. We can only get better, and I can't wait to see Richie Mo'unga, Bodie Barrett just cut open. When they start gelling, the speed and the brilliance of these two who have played some dynamic Super Rugby at number 10, I think we'll see it unleash. And, I can't wait for that to happen, actually.
Now, do the All Blacks care about this number 1 status? Because I can tell you this, I don't. I'm not sure how many people actually do care, but one of the things, and this is an interesting thing, how is it that Wales, if New Zealand, if Aussie beat New Zealand, how is it that Wales, who haven't beaten New Zealand in a very, 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 very long time, and I'm talking maybe the 1950s, maybe, how is it that Wales can become the number 1 team in the world? I mean, I just don't understand how that works there, Reno. Have you got any idea?
No.
Yep.
I was the same as you when I heard it. I was thinking, what the hell? Where does this come from? I thought the margin between us and number 2 was massive, that we'd be untouchable after all the wins we've dominated over the recent years. No one would be nowhere near us. But Wales, you're right, it's all the Six Nations stuff and everything that gets added into it. So that's the only reasoning why it's from the Six Nations tournaments. everything like that brings it close to that margin. But remember, everyone, this is all run from up in the northern hemisphere from the
I guess you're right.
So the reality of it in our hearts, we know who the number one team
well,
is.
obviously.
It doesn't really play anything on my mind.
No.
It doesn't affect me if we lose or not, because
exactly.
for me, the big picture is in Japan.
Yep. What are your thoughts? Are you able to enlighten us on how this world number one ranking thing sort of happens there, Ra?
Mathematics, Kesey, it's the same predicament and scenario the Warriors are in terms of, if they can make a grand finals berth or whatever. It comes down to the accumulation of points and the build-up of win-loss ratio, all that kind of carry on. Obviously we don't sort of tend to follow a lot of what the Welsh team has done, but obviously they've had a few wins and secured a few positions, and which has led them to where they are now. So, it's all added up, and it's a strange old business, once you start throwing figures into sport. But sadly, sometimes it's what it comes down to. We know that, me personally, it doesn't matter squat at the end of the day. It's what happens on the field and whether or not you can take away a win, and, that's where it all counts. So, I suppose the Welsh, they can sort of take it with a grain of salt, but at the end of the day, it comes down to sort of winning and losing on the actual field, and we know that the boys in black have a better win-loss ratio than many teams. But look, getting back to the Wallabies game, I wasn't too impressed with how the boys went up against the Springboks here at home. So I don't know. I think we're going into this match with a bit of intrepidation, and they could even beat us maybe. But once again, I don't really give two hoots. It's the big one that I'm all about. So if we can learn from these lead-in games, so be it.
This will be our number one team that we've put together so far this year. I mean, this is our best team. And it was interesting that they've gone once again for Richie at first five and stuck Barrett back at fullback again. I think that's another interesting move, and I think they're probably going to use that particular backline in the World Cup. What do you reckon, Ra?
Yeah, and then they probably will, and that's why Shag's sort of going through the motions now and trying to get those combinations right, Keith, because the last thing you want is to turn up at the World Cup and then it all falls apart and then your calls and your moves and nothing's gelling. So, better to try and get them working on them now in these lead-in games. And albeit if we lose, it is what it is, but let's go away and reevaluate and prepare for the main one. So, no, it should be interesting, but, we know our team and they usually come right at the end of it all, but sometimes it's the coming right that we sort of watch with a lot of intrepidation, because, you can get those sort of eerie moments where you wonder what the heck's going on. But Shag's got a plan, Keithy, and his, and his team, so hopefully it comes to fruition and we see it tonight.
Yep. Richie is, without a doubt, in my mind, the best first five in the country. But, as Shag has alluded, you can't keep Barrett out, can you, Reno? He is just got so much pace. He's just so good. He's not the best first five, and his kicking can be a bit wayward at times, but, to be quite honest, you've got to have him on the paddock, don't you?
You got to, and that's why he's trying to get him back to where he's played at fullback in his early career. So, he's going to be there, he's going to be in the team, and you nailed it on the head. Two of the top players in the Super Rugby on the New Zealand franchises. Richie, of course, the boot. The points are going to be vital, so that's why he's going to be there. I would say he'll be doing the kicking duties tonight.
Yeah.
And Bodie will be just concentrating on getting his way around the back there and making things work, and he's going to hit that line, and like you said, the speed. That's the key to how we're going to win this World Cup, is those two young men and what they bring, the dynamic. We know what they like in their play, we know what their defence is, but they just bring something that a different team, because a lot of the teams have worked it out now. They're coming up into the rush defence. So players like these two in particular can't get any room to move. Once you give them that little room to move, either player, they'll just break through. I bet you Richie will be trying for a chip in one of these games, if not tonight.
Absolutely.
It up. So,
but he needs it.
It's experimental at the moment, but he does, and we know how strong Jack Goodhue can be. And he just needs his mate who's going to get back soon from injury, and that'll be Ryan Crotty. Pretty well a secured Crusader backline, just about. Then with the dynamic of Bodie at the back, mate, that's a devastating back line. That's most likely one of the best we've seen for a long time.
Didn't quite work against South Africa, though. I mean, he kind of, at the beginning of the game, 2 charge downs, almost in, not far after each other. So he kind of had a bit of a mixed game. And to be honest, the South Africans worked out pretty much, didn't they? They worked out how to defend against the All Blacks. I guess that was the plan right from the start for the South Africans. But, I dare say you're right. The rest of the world has probably seen what South Africa did to kind of neutralise the All Blacks. But, there's so much more to the All Blacks than that, isn't there, Reno?
Oh, definitely. And then you got the guys who'll make an impact. We haven't yet seen it from the bench. Been dominant over the last few seasons with the ABs. But, these two, look, that was just the first game. I very much doubt you'll see another rush defence. The Lucies will have to do their work to shut down their Lucies from getting up to Richie. But they'll stand back another yard deeper. Aaron Smith's got a hell of a pass on him. He'll get it back there, and they'll work out an extra back line around the back. So they'll have that covered. Look, that's just one of the games that things didn't go well at the start there for Richie. He seemed to pick himself up in the last half an hour of that game. But it's only the first one. Yeah, I'm just excited to see these two because they were so bloody good during the Super Rugby season.
Yeah, good game. It should be a good game.
Speed the burn.
Yes,
Speed the burn.
Absolutely. Anyway, we're moving on. We've got to move on. We could go on even longer, I'm sure, but we've got to move on without a doubt because my favourite part of the show has now just come upon us. It's the part where we're able to get our angst released out there into the world. It's the part of the show that we tend to call Put the Boot In! My Put the Boot In is going out to the NRL referees. My God, over the last few weeks, they have been terrible. And some of the decisions in particular that I saw this week, and we haven't even... We've only had 3 NRL games so far this week. Some of their decisions have been just absolutely some of the most shocking decisions that I've seen in either rugby or rugby league. So something needs to be done with these NRL referees. So there you go. That's my Put the Boot In!
Yeah, I'm putting my boot into politics. I don't know exactly what because I haven't actually got to put the boot in. It's been a bit of a quiet and a mellow week in terms of a lot of things. I could probably put it into the weather. No, that's what I'll do. I'll put it into the weather, how it's unseasonably warm and it's not cold, which is not a bad thing, but it is because you wonder what's coming around the corner. If it's not cold in winter, then, what's it going to be like further on down the track? Are we going to have a heat wave summer like what they're doing over in Europe and across their way? So, yeah, my boots into the weather.
Put the boot in!
Yeah, I don't really have one. Pretty well looking around trying to think of something to say, but not really, mate. I don't ever put the boot in for today. I suppose I just want to kind of reflect on one of our greatest All Blacks. The AB game today will wear the number sewn into their jersey, 637. Who does that belong to? To the man we laid to rest on Thursday, Sir Brian Lahore, BJ Lahore, down there in front of all the fans and his family and friends and everyone. 100 All Blacks, everyone that spoke down there in Wairarapa, even the Prime Minister was there. So not really I put the boot in for me today, boys, just to reflect and remember a guy that gave so much as part of 1987 and through the years with the Heartland Rugby. I always remember him saying, that's where the All Blacks come from, don't forget it, Heartland Rugby. So no put the boot in for me today, boys.
Put the boot in!
Yeah, my put the boot in goes to the New Zealand judicial system, which let convicted paedophile William Hogan out after only serving 2 years and 8 months of a 9-year sentence. He was released on the 16th of July because he is described as a model prisoner. What about the victim in these sort of things? Was his life highly thought of when Hogan chose to steal his innocence, his trust and his sense of normality? Did Hogan care about his character and his future? So who is being punished here, the victim or the criminal? As far as I'm concerned, there's only 2 people that can cure paedophilia. Their names are Mr. Smith and Mr. Weston. That's my put the boot in.
Put the boot in! Wow. I know, the New Zealand justice system is just I don't know. Well, I don't think it's just the New Zealand justice system. I think a lot of the justice system around the world is just